Hello, lovely people. Welcome to Answer Monday on the Extreme Wise Predictions channel. Here we get the chance and the opportunity to answer our viewers' questions that are pinged in the comment sections of most of our videos. If you want your questions to be featured in our Answer Monday video, kindly put your questions in the comment section of this video, and most of you guys' questions will be selected to be featured on our next Answer Monday video. If you are new to the channel, kindly like, subscribe, and also don't forget to turn on your notification bell so that you can get notified when we post similar videos like this. Remember, today is Answer Monday. Let's get into the video. First, we have OT1000. It says, thanks for answering my questions. Good to know Nigeria will remain one. Another one. Will we see another world war in our lifetime or anything similar? If yes, what countries may be involved and what may lead to it? So I'll answer it in a different way. So here's the case that when we talk about world war, the um, the world has to accept that whatever is going on is a world war. So currently, for me, how I feel, Ukraine war, Israel, and then Iran kind of having those conflict going on. In my opinion, I think it's a world war. It's just that the world is not accepting the fact that we are actually in a world war. For you to know that the country is in a world war, you have to know the three key players or the three key countries are also involved in the conflict that is actually going on. One of the three key players are going to be US, Russia, and China. If you see these three key players in any conflict or any war that is going on, it's classified to be a world war. That's how, for me, in my own opinion, I think that is how it is. So it is up to the world for the world to actually accept the fact that are we currently in a world war? Is a world war happening? Or we are just in doubt, or we are just in disagreement that whatever is happening is actually a world war. So that is how I see it happening. And if you see like that, I think that's how it is. If we don't actually see this that way, I do not know how we can actually say that we are in a world war or not. If the world is not coming in agreement in that. Let's move on to the next question. I see Gladys here. Gladys says that, do you see the 7-year peace treaty being signed between Israel and Iran in September? So my short answer is going to be no. I don't see any peace treaty signed between Israel and Iran in September of 2025. If there's going to be any peace treaty that is going to be signed for these two countries, it's going to be in first quarter of 2026. So I don't see anything signed in September. Even if something is signed this year, it's not going to hold. That's how I see it. I don't see that it's going to hold at all. Let's move on to the next question. I have Marie here and says, I would love to know what will happen in Lebanon. Right now, America has approved for Hezbollah to disarm. I don't feel that will happen. So basically, what do you see in the future of Lebanon, please? A lot of people are interested in what will happen in Lebanon and Gaza. And do you have any contact details or website for personal predictions, please, or don't you do any? So I don't do any personal predictions at this moment, and I don't have any website. I don't do this full time. I do it like something, a gift that I have, and I want to exhibit it on YouTube. So I'm not doing this as a full time. That's why some of my predictions are just direct, and then I just hit on the ball. I don't want to, because I'm not trying to be on YouTube for YouTube to pay me or something like that. So if YouTube pays me, fine, but it's not like my full-time job that I'm looking on to do it. So I normally go straight to the point and stuff like that. So I don't have any website, but I have an email that you can, write me, and I can also reply. So my email is in my description. It's not in the video description, but it's in my page or channel description, where you can find my email address, and then you can actually also message me over there. So let's go to your question. You said what will happen in Lebanon. So for me personally, that I see that there's going to be a little bit of conflict in terms of disarming Hezbollah, and I don't see that they are going to be fully disarmed. I don't see that happening. And then I see that there's going to be growth in Lebanon. I see Lebanon having growth, and I see the economy rising, but they are going to have some issues. I'm going to list those issues that they are going to have because I'm seeing that right now. And I see that they are going to rise from the ashes, but the issues that they are going to have, it has to be with some systems. I don't know if they are technologically they are advanced or something like that. I see that they are going to have a lot of system issues, maybe in banking sector, like huge sectors will have a lot of system issues. So maybe banking sector will have issues because that's what I'm seeing, that people are queued at the bank, and it looks like a protest or something like that. But I see that there's going to be system issues in Lebanon. I also see that, I don't know why, but it's like the Pope visited Lebanon. I don't know, it's because of the system issues or the disarming of Hezbollah. So that's what I see. But I see that the Pope visited Lebanon, and that's what I see. With Gaza, I already predicted about Gaza that Israel is going to absorb Gaza, and I see this happening. So it's going to still happen that Israel will actually absorb Gaza. Let's go to the next question. We have GTB61 says that I also have a question for your Monday question sections, please, David. Can you see where about we are in regards to the upcoming pandemic, and if it is still on track as early predicted, and how far away we are, or how far away, please? With the pandemic, I think the testing phase of the pandemic has already been concluded. And I think that they are actually analyzing the data to decide whether to release the pandemic into the world or not. And, there is a catch, right? There is a catch that I'm seeing, that, there's a lot of people who have also, since I started predicting about this pandemic, I see that a lot of people has also started predicting about the same pandemic. So it's like the world is aware. And if you want to do something and a lot of people know what you are going to already do, it normally limits what your intentions, that you either don't do it at that specific moment because everybody is expecting it, right? So that is where we are at the moment. So the authorities, it's up to them to release it or not to release it. But as since a lot of people are aware of what is going to be happening, I'm doubting that authorities will actually release the pandemic as we have predicted. And I see that there may be a pushback or something will come in conflict with it. But the pandemic is ready to go at this moment. It's ready to go. And then I see that in some African countries, the deforestation has already started happening. So I don't know if they are planning to release the pandemic. So those who are in African countries, they can, confirm this, as there is a lot of deforestation, cutting down of trees and stuff are happening in African countries at this moment. That's what I'm seeing. So releasing the pandemic, I don't know if they're still going to release on track, or they are going to take a little bit of time before they release the pandemic. That is what I see happening, based on our current stand at this moment. Let's go to the next question. I see Sobi, is it Range? Sobi Range, or I don't know how to pronounce the name. I don't know if it is one name, two names, but that's how I can pronounce it. I'm sorry. Says that will Belgium join BRICS, and when? Will Belgium leave UA? Thanks in advance. So, question is that I don't see Belgium joining BRICS at this moment. And when I'm looking at it in the next 5 years, I don't see them joining BRICS. I rather see them continue with their alliance with NATO and also with the EU. So that is what I'm seeing. But I don't see them joining the BRICS. Maybe, but that's what I'm seeing currently. These are all predictions, and it doesn't mean that what I'm saying is absolutely 100% what is going to happen. These are predictions. We are trying to predict what the future holds based on gifts that we have, clairvoyancy and stuff. So I don't see them joining, but I see their ties with NATO is going to be strong, and then with the EU. Let's go to the next question. So we have Mia. Is it Mia? Oh, yeah. Says, "Hi David, I would like to see predictions for Guyana in South America. Elections will be coming up September 1st, and everyone's wondering who will win. There's also corruption on many levels in the country." Okay, so I'm just doing this on the note. I didn't take any. So let me see what I can see in terms of the elections in Guyana. Okay, so uh, Guyana elections on September 1st, 2025. All right, so there's not going to be any change of government at this moment, as I'm seeing it. And it's like the party who won has, like, I see a P in, like, the beginning of the party who won starts with a P. And I'm looking at it right now. I'm seeing like there's a multiple P's. I don't know, like a rhyme of P's within that part. I don't know if it's, I know for a fact that I know it starts with a P, but I also see like a rhyme of P's. I don't know if there's a party like that, like P P P P, whatever it is. Like, that's what I'm seeing. And hold on for a minute. Okay. So I'm seeing um I'm seeing someone who is the president, who's going to be the president. Is called like Ali Mohammed. So I see Ali Mohammed as the president. I don't know if he's the current president. I'm doing it on the settings, and I don't know anything about Guyana. And then I'm doing this on just live kind of vibration. So I see Ali Mohammed winning, and I think he wins for 2 terms. So if he is the current president right now, then he's going to still win, because I see him actually being the president for 2 different terms. And then if he is not the current president, then he's coming to come in and be the president and also win for another term. That's how I see it. So if you can confirm, you know, um, Mike, if you can confirm that Ali Mohammed is the president. If he's not, then going to be the coming president. But if he is the president, then he's going to win this election as well. And I see that there is protest against him, but I don't. It's like the people who are protesting against him are covered. I see like they are in a certain, kind of. I don't call it a dungeon, but maybe a hole or something. You know how you are cooking and you put a lid on the pot. That's kind of something I see. I see that they are gathered and they are being put in a pot. When I see him still reigning over the country of Guyana, that's what I see happening in the September 2025 elections. Let me Let's go to the next question. So we have David. David says that, will the tariff in the US be successful and bring many jobs? So I think I have already made predictions about this, that the tariffs that is going on currently will be successful, but it's going to take time. I already said this already, that the tariffs will be very successful and it's going to take time. It's going to bring a lot of jobs. It's not really the tariffs that is going to be bringing a lot of jobs, because for now, as I see it currently, a lot of federal jobs is going to be lost. The US is going to lay off a lot of federal workers. So we are going to be in a slum, and the country is going to recover, but it is not right now. Let's not make any short-term plans at this moment. Tariffs is going to be successful, but not at this moment. Let's give it up to maybe 2027 or the end of 2026, thereabout. That's when we are going to see progress into the things that Trump is doing. And I don't know, there's a lot of people in power I I don't want to say this, but it's like they are sabotaging Trump. It looks like something like that. It's like I told you in my previous prediction. It looks like they gave Trump something, and Trump health is going to be shaky a little bit. And if they are unable to control Trump that way, they are going to hit on his children. Like this is something huge. So this is like I'm stepping on huge toes at the moment in terms of what Trump is doing. Is stepping on huge toes that they want to retaliate so badly. So that is what I see kind of happening. And I don't know if it's still going to hold, but that's what I see coming. Some of these predictions are not that we predict for it to happen. We predict for those people or those parties or those key people in play should take precautions so that they can change the event of time. That's why we make this prediction. We are not predicting for these things to actually happen. We are predicting for them to, change things. It's like the pandemic. We started predicting on this so that they will know we know their plan so that they change the plan. Instead of, losing a lot of people, we are going to speak about it for the people in authority to hold on with the pandemic, and people will live for a longer time. That's how we kind of predictions we do. That's how I see that predictions is an awareness. Okay. Let me shift my attention to New Zealand. I see some of people, put in some countries in the comment section. Since this is a short video, I want to include some predictions, like live predictions of some countries. Let me look at some New Zealand. So as I spoke about New Zealand, I see immigration issues. So I see that there's going to be change in terms of immigration policies towards like New Zealand citizens. That's what I see happening. So New Zealand citizens, there's going to be immigration policy change. That's what I see. That's then what is ringing into my ears right now. If New Zealand has not already discovered oil, I see them discovering oil. If they have not already discovered oil, but if they have already discovered oil, I see like there's going to be a big oil reserve coming in place. Like they are going to build a very big oil reserve that is coming in place. That's what I see. I see like there's a huge machine and oil refineries going on in New Zealand, but I don't know if they already have oil or they don't. It's looked like they discovered it or they are building a reserve for oil in their country. That's what I see happening. And also, I see that New Zealand will start tightening their defense system. And they are going to have a huge deal, tightening their defense system. They are going to have a huge deal with the US. That's what I see happening. That like the US military is actually helping New Zealand on their defense system. And these two countries are having a huge deal in place. And I also see that, the tariffs that US have placed on New Zealand will affect the economy. The economy of New Zealand is going to be affected, but it's not going to be for a long time. I see this happening, that the tariffs US place on New Zealand is going to affect the economy, but it's not for a very long time. I see that happening. And I see also that, whilst I'm talking about that economy, it's like hospitals are being closed down. I don't know. It's like some hospitals were being closed down, or there's kind of restrictions of going into hospitals. Eh, I don't know if it's happening already, but it's like hospitals are closed down and people are not allowed to go into specific some certain hospitals at this moment. So I see that happening, that hospitals will be closed down, or people will not be able to allow, or there's going to be restrictions that is limiting people to enter into hospitals. I also see that there's going to be like a lot of sports events in New Zealand. I don't know if they are hosting anything. This is just done initially, like I'm doing live seeing, like I'm seeing these things that in New Zealand there's a lot of sports events. I see a lot of people being gathered for sport events, a lot of sport event, athletes, whatever it is, a lot of sporting event going on. And it's like the country is happy about the sporting event that is going on in New Zealand. That's what I'm seeing currently. Um, I'm seeing that happening. And then I also see that while the sporting events are happening, it's like teenagers do not have phones with them. So it means that there's going to be restrictions on social media for teenagers. teenagers will have restrictions on social. It's like on the sporting event, I see only adults who have phones with them. It's not because teenagers cannot have phones, but the meaning is that there's going to be like restrictions on the use of social media for teenagers in that regards. I also see that fishing with fishing in New Zealand, there's going to be a new fishing policy that is going to be introduced in the country. So people who are in fishing, I see like policies being changed and stuff like that. And then also, as I was talking about fishing, it's like I saw a lot of stampede in the country, even at night. It's like people do not have a place to sleep. So in that regards, it means that there's going to be a lot of homelessness, or homeless people will be a huge rise of homeless people within New Zealand. That may be like shelters. In US, we have like shelters and stuff like that. I don't know if they have the same thing in New Zealand, but it's like the places that host people who have who are homeless are occupied, and there's even majority of people who do not still have shelters to be occupied, like those, so they are on the street. I see that happening in New Zealand. I see also that there's going to be like a political standard that is going to explode. I see like there is a huge evidence that is going to be leaked, and it's going to be like a political scandal. It's like recorded, it's like people record, it's like evidence that you cannot defend. That kind of thing, that is what I'm seeing. It's like, let's say if they said I did something, okay, I'm asking you for the proof of what I did, and then you brought the proof out. So I see that happening in politics in New Zealand, that a lot of politicians are going to be exposed. I see something very huge that is going to be really exposed. It's like somebody has something that will actually turn the politics of New Zealand upside down. Let me go to Australia. Let me start going to Australia at this moment. Bear with me, I'm doing this live, so most of these things, it takes time for me to see what I need to see clearly, and it's even decode the message for you to understand what I'm saying. So I see that it's like childcare in Australia was reformed. It's like I'm seeing there's a reform in child. Is there something going on with childcare in Australia? It's like there was a reform, or there is a policy that was introduced that is arresting people who are, I don't know if they are molesting children, or there is something going on with health, childcare in Australia that people are getting arrested about. So I see that happening in Australia, that people are getting arrested, or perpetrators are getting justice for the things that they are doing in Australia. Whilst I'm also saying that in terms of childcare, I'm also saying something about disability for children. That there's going to be a new policy or a new program that is centered for children with disability. I don't know if it's happening already, but I see this becoming a huge news, where children with disability have a new policy or a new program aiding them or something like that. I see that happening. I don't know if there is mining in Australia, but I see huge machines in terms of minings in Australia. And here's the case that, like, the way African countries have like their water bodies being polluted, I see the same thing happening in Australia. I don't know if mining occurs in Australia, but it looks like their water bodies are being contaminated, and this is bringing about some issues in the country. And I don't know if there's going to be a protest, but I'm seeing this like in South Australia or something like that. That is happening. That there's going to be, I don't know if it's sometimes our feelings get in the way of our predictions, but this is what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is what I'm seeing. I don't know if it is because I'm saying Australia. Australia and Africa is kind of rhyming. Yeah, it start with an A, but that's what I'm saying. Australia have issues with water bodies based on their mining things, like mining, their mining stuff. Yeah, so that's what I see as well. So, that I've been talking about some brain disorder. Um, I forgot what the name is. I always do not know how to pronounce this name. So there's a brain disorder, right? That reduces your thinking capacity and stuff like that. I see that Australia will introduce a new treatment for that brain disorder. There is a new treatment coming in Australia. I don't know, in Australia, that is going to be for that kind of brain disorder that is happening. I see that happening. I also see that Australia and US is going to have an investment deal. There's a big investment deal that is coming that will strengthen the alliances between Australia and US. So there's going to be this happening, and I see this that Australia and US are going to be in an investment deal, a big investment deal. I also see that the cost of living in Australia is going to rise up. It's like people are walking and then there's fire on their head. It's very funny, some of the things that I see and how I interpret the things that I see. So I see that people are walking, there's fire on it. That means the cost of living is going to go up and it's going to even get worsened. And I see that the health sector is going to collapse. Like I was saying about the hospitals collapse, or like closing up of the hospitals and stuff. And I see that there's going to be a scandal in the health sector. There's going to be a huge scandal in the health sector happening. Whilst the cost of living is going up, people are not even getting health care correctly in Australia. We hope these are not happening, but these are just predictions, guys. These are just predictions. I also see that there's going to be protests. Definitely, when there's health sector problem, there's going to be protests. So let me add that to it. So there's going to be protests in Australia. I don't know if it is in regards to the health sector, but I'm picking up like borders, like border issues are bringing in this protest that is happening. I see border issues bringing up this protest in Australia happening. And I also, whilst I'm saying about that, um, it's like I'm having a feeling of something shaking. So it's like an earthquake that is happening in Australia. So I don't know, but I feel like there's going to be earthquake in Australia. Um, I see earthquake happening in Australia, and this is going to be intensified, and there's going to be this earthquake happening in Australia. So you guys can confirm whether earthquake is happening or it's not happening, or when it happens, they kind of confirm for me. But I feel like there's going to be earthquake happening in Australia, and I also see that Australia is going to be. I don't know if they are partnering with Palestine or they are recognizing Palestine about something. And I see that this will shift, like it will trigger some diplomatic alliance or conflict. Like Australia is going to, like the name of the Palestinians will be within Australia. I don't know if they are recognizing them for something or they are partnering them with them on something. That's what I see. I'm not seeing it clearly, but I see like a handshake. So it means that they are partnering. There's going to be maybe a deal or something that is going to be happening in between Australia and Palestine. And then let me move my attention to Iceland. Wow, wow, wow. It's like the Iceland country is collapsing. It's like it's collapsing. I see there's a lot of earthquake. It's a lot of earthquakes, a lot of volcano eruption happening. It's like there's flood all over. It's massive. Like I'm seeing a lot of things in Iceland. It's like there's destruction in Iceland that is uncontrollable at this moment. So I see a lot of earthquakes, I see a lot of volcano eruption, I see a lot of floods, and this is going to be very, very intensified. And it's like they have nothing they can do about it. The government is trying to deploy like measures to see how this volcano eruptions is going to be intensified, like the intensity of the volcano eruptions. So they are trying to plan for measures in place, like to see how they can actually stop this from happening. That's what I see the government doing. And this volcano eruption is even getting intensified more. I see this happening. I see Iceland also taking into consideration their defense system and also aligning because of these things happening and aligning with NATO and EU. So I see them having these things happening in Iceland. And I also see that Iceland will also kind of invest into projects, a lot of projects like energy, health, and also many more projects. Maybe their infrastructure or whatever it is. I see them having a lot of investment in energy and health. this is going to be happening in Australia because of all these calamities and chaos happening in Iceland. It's not Australia, in Iceland, sorry. Because of all these calamities happening in Iceland, I see that it's like their spending level went up. It went to a record high, that they spent so much within a specific fiscal year, that is 2025, and it hits a record high. And I see this happening. And then I think it's because of the chaos and then the panicking happening in the country at the moment. In Iceland as well, I see them also with all this chaos happening, right? I see them also kind of helping Ukraine in whatever Ukraine is going in at this moment. That is happening. And also, it's like a flight company stopped working. It's not like completely stopped working, but it's like operations issues that happened within the company made them stop flying to certain parts of Iceland. I don't know if they have like a domestic flight that goes. I think that domestic flight will stop flying to other parts of Iceland at the moment. That's what I see happening. Let me move my attention to Norway. Let's talk about Norway. Norway. Immediately, I'm picking up on Norway. I see they were going to have a conflict with Russia. I don't know if it's a border issue, but we all know Russia to be the one who has like border issues at this moment. So maybe that's why I'm picking up on that. But I see that Norway is going to have issues with Russia. I don't know if it is due to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, but I see that they are going to have border issues, and because of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, there's going to be an inflow of refugees into the country of Norway. I don't know if it's happening already, but the refugees are going to increase, or the number of refugees are going to increase in the country of Norway. And I see them coming from Norway and some coming from, I don't know if there's any border to Middle East, but I see like people coming from the Middle East entering into Norway, people coming from Africa entering into Norway, and this is going to be huge deal for Norwegians. That is what I see. I also see there's going to be a protest in Norway. It's, I don't know if maybe it's due to some indigenous policy that went on or something like that. That's what I see. Like a lot of people having plaques and stuff walking on the streets, and there's protests going on in Norway. I don't know if it's happening already, but this is what I see. And also, whilst I'm picking up on that about conflict and stuff, I see also there's going to be conflict in the energy sector in Norway. So the energy sector in Norway are going to experience a conflict. It's not going to be a conflict outside. It's like a conflict within the energy sector in Norway. That's what how I see it. That is happening. That the energy sector is experiencing conflict within, and this conflict is going to be intensified. And I also see that I think we know Norway to have oil and gas, right? But I see that there's going to be a huge demand on their oil and gas. That there's going to be shortage of oil and gas in Norway. That is why I'm seeing happen. There's pressure on Norway. I know they are doing a lot of things, but that's what I see happening there. There's going to be pressure on their oil and gas that will create shortage of their oil and gas in Norway. That is what I see happening. I also see that there's going to be a royal scandal in Norway. Like something is ringing in my ears, like a royal scandal. Like you know how the UK has scandals and stuff in terms of their royal or the issues with royal. I see a scandal happening, and I see that there's going to be a strong evidence that will come to light that will be hard to miss. So this scandal is going to happen. I don't know. That is what I'm picking up in this moment. So let me give maybe one more thing that I think I see in Norway. I see that there's going to be a huge conflict, like the one I was talking about with Russia, but I see there's going to be a huge conflict that is going to be very intense. But I don't see it going to be a world war, but I see that there's going to be a huge conflict that is going to be very, very, very intense in Norway. Let me add maybe one more country. I saw somebody predict about, like, talked about Portugal. I've never said any prediction about Portugal, but let me see if I can. Some of these things I like to test what, my gift and what things I can pick up on. So let me look at Portugal. So Portugal poultry farm. Okay. So Portugal, I'm just seeing like a lot of fires going around in Portugal, like forest fires, Portugal. So that's what I'm seeing. Forest fires, Portugal. So there's going to be a lot of fires in the forest within Portugal. That there's going to be, I don't know if there's a lot of fire going on in Portugal, and I see that some people will lose their lives through these fires. We don't want this happening, but it's like firefighters, civilians are losing their life in these fires. This forest fires is going to really, really intensify. I don't know if it is part of this pandemic thing that they are doing deforestation or something like. But there's going to be a huge forest fires in Portugal, and I see this already happening in Portugal, and some people will be losing their lives. Like, unfortunately, firefighters and then civilians. We pray that this doesn't happen. I also see that there will be a new immigration law in Portugal, and this immigration law will be put in place based on the fact that they want to tighten their borders. And this is what I see for Portugal, that they want to tighten their borders, so they'll put in new immigration laws. I don't know, is there like huge traffic in Portugal in terms of vehicle going up and down? It's like there's huge traffic in Portugal, right? And it's like the vehicles are now passing through underwater tunnels. So I don't know if they are going to be building underwater tunnels, but they are going to build a new tunnels for vehicles to be passing through it. They are claiming that this is based on the fact that there's huge traffic in Portugal. So I see huge traffic in Portugal, and vehicles will start passing underwater tunnels. That's what I see happening in Portugal. And I also see that Portugal is into AI. They are going to be much into AI than most countries. I know most countries are adopting AI, but it's like Portugal and AI is the same country. That's how I see it. That Portugal will enter into AI so much that whatever they are doing is AI related. That's how I see what happening. And then I see also that the economy of Portugal will grow massively. I know that maybe last year they had a significant growth that was beyond how the government actually predicted it. And this year I'm seeing that it will surpass what last year was. That's how I see the growth of Portugal going. That they'll be recording that their growth exceeded last year's growth. I see that happening in Portugal. And I also see that the public administration sector, the policies within the public administration sector will be revamped. There will be a revamp of the public administration sector. I think maybe somebody new came in. Maybe he already came in already. Yeah, he already came in. And I see there's new policies that person brought in place that is revamping their policies within the public administration. And I also see that Portugal and the UAE, will partner up in energy and digital sectors. So I see this. I told you that Portugal and AI is like they are one. So digital sectors is kind of AI related stuff. So I see them also kind of um, uh, partnering. Do like Portuguese citizens use AI for their banking things and or everything like that? It's like I see things like that happening. But here's a case I'm seeing Portugal and UAE partnering up in energy and digital sectors. I see this happening. Let me maybe add one more. Like I know that we know Portugal won, I think, the Nations League or something like that. I see that this will bring about unity within the country. The nations, because the Nations League that they won, it's going to be like a topic that will unite a lot of people in Portugal, and I see this happening. Thank you guys for watching. This is Answer Monday. If you want your questions to be answered, put them in the comment sections, and your question may be featured in our next Answer Monday video. Thank you guys for watching.